What is going on, guys? PoliticsGaming here, and today I'm going to be doing episode 16 of the United States of America. If you watched the last episode, basically you saw me start on the southern United States southeastern expansion, in which I actually started a high-speed rail network starting up in Florida, and we're definitely gonna start tracking this way north, and then we're gonna connect it all the way over to Richmond, and then basically that means we would have a continuous connection all along the east coast of the United States. It would actually travel from Boston all the way to Miami. There would be a couple of stops on the way, you know, it would actually stop in Orlando, then it would go to Jacksonville. We're looking at possibly a line that would actually connect all the way over to Atlanta. That way we can actually connect Richmond over to Greensboro, then over to Charlotte. Actually, we'll do a Richmond-Charlotte line, and then the Charlotte line would actually connect directly to Atlanta. Atlanta would connect directly over to Jacksonville, and then basically that could actually connect and finally finish up the entire eastern seaboard line, which would be awesome. So let's go ahead and get that started. Let's go over to construction, high-speed rail. Let's get this Atlanta line going, and this is going to be, let's go ahead and check out what it's going to look like if we actually started it from Jacksonville. Go ahead and crawl this line up toward Atlanta, connect that right there, and that's what it's gonna look like. Actually, it looks pretty neat. Actually, $20 billion, 539 miles, actually, not million. Let's go ahead and get this done. Let's see how much this is gonna cost us. $16 billion, 8 months. Let's go ahead and get that done, actually, and we're gonna go ahead and connect at least from Atlanta over into Charlotte, North Carolina. Is gonna let's go ahead and get this off, cross a road. I'm gonna cross over here, then it's gonna connect right up there. All right, we have a little bit of a eastern, looks like. I'm gonna just check on this real quick. Let's go ahead and redo that. Actually, let's go over, do this. Let's actually connect it right between these highways. It's gonna connect out. It's actually gonna go into the wilderness. Gonna cross over a lake right there, and that's gonna connect all the way over to Charlotte. That's our Charlotte line. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that beautiful high-speed rail network system. Maybe we can actually connect Atlanta over to possibly Birmingham or Montgomery, and then we could actually get a southern line actually started up. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a really advanced high-speed rail system. It's going to cost us another almost $16 billion. It's going to actually 513 meters Stone Mountain. Stone Mountain is actually in this game. I didn't know that. Stone Mountain is actually, I think this is the Confederate monument that I didn't know Eversim actually put this in here. I think Stone Mountain is actually the Confederate monument. It's much more like Mount Rushmore, and basically it's just a memorial for them. So I believe that is what Stone Mountain is, and if so, that is very interesting that Eversim would actually put that in this game. It's cool. That's actually really interesting. Let's go ahead and see what other lines we can go ahead and start getting off the ground, start getting financed. I did get a request from someone telling me to do the Sunbelt line, which we are going to go ahead and get a direct connection from Phoenix, Arizona, all the way over to Las Vegas. This is going to pass directly next to Henderson, Nevada, which is just south of Las Vegas. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get the Sunbelt off the ground. Another line we could actually possibly do would be Phoenix to San Diego. San Diego could actually connect directly there. Wonder who we would need. Would it be Phoenix to Las Vegas, or would it be San Diego to Phoenix? Let's go ahead and, instead of the Las Vegas line, let's go ahead and go over transportation. Let's maybe Hyperloop, actually. What do we need with a Hyperloop? Let's see where we can actually build a Hyperloop. Can we actually do this? It'd be interesting if we actually wanted to create this between Charlotte and Richmond, but that would not make sense. We could do Dallas. We haven't done any northern connections from Dallas. We do have the Texas Triangle. We just need to get one more piece of the Texas Triangle up and running. We could do Houston to New Orleans. What about this? So we have the California high-speed rail network up and running. Bakersfield, Fresno, Stockton is actually ignored while it goes over to Sacramento. Can we do this? Let's try this. Yeah, Salt Lake City to Las Vegas is exactly the kind of train line we need. Hyperloop between Denver and Plano, Dallas. Can we do Dallas? Well, how much would this cost us if we wanted to do a Hyperloop between Denver and Dallas? Dallas to Denver would actually be very interesting, because if we could actually get a Hyperloop right here and then connect the rest of it through high-speed rail through the mountains, that would cut a lot of costs from transportation and transportation selling point. It would actually cut down a lot between Denver and Dallas, because Dallas and Denver, Texas and Colorado are actually very, very close, both geographically and culturally, because a lot of people do travel between the two states. Let's go ahead and see what the costs on this will be. This will be $40 billion. It's going to be $40 billion, $206 billion over the next 5 years. It's going to be Denver to Dallas. And let's go ahead and check the same between a high-speed rail. It's going to be $51 billion, $10 billion, $51.7 billion. Very, very close in cost. Let's go ahead and, again, compare that again. Can we do that? That is going to cost $41 billion. It's actually going to be like $10 to $15 billion cheaper if we actually did a Hyperloop. Interesting. Let's go ahead and do one more comparison. And again, this is going to be $10 billion. It's going to be $258 billion. A Hyperloop is going to be $240 billion. We're saving about $15 billion actually if we create a Hyperloop. So let's go ahead and get a Hyperloop done. I'm going to go ahead and draw this myself. Let's go ahead and we're going to go up north past this gas well north of Louisville Lake. We're going to draw it kind of past I-35. This is I-35 right here. Let's go ahead and just continue to draw it past the gas well. We're nearing up toward Denver. We could probably just make it a straight line shot. $42 billion, $212 billion, and oh my god. Okay, let's again, $212 billion. What is the other cost? $212 billion, $258 billion. We're saving almost $50 billion off of that. All right, let's do it one more time. Draw it up north. We're gonna have to do this really quickly just to kind of get past this song. It's gonna be more of a straight line shot after we get up north from the Metroplex. And see that line right there, drawing beautifully. Let's see what that's going to cost. $210 billion. We saved $2 billion just by drawing it ourselves. I guess drawing it actually is a little bit of a cheaper solution. All right, looks like most of our train lines are actually up and running. Looks like constructions are now underway. The Atlanta-Jacksonville line is now underway. Dallas-Denver Hyperloop, here we go. Construction has begun. We can already draw some conclusions. First of all, this is good for national tourism, which will benefit from this new infrastructure. So we will have a little bit of an economic boost off of that. Looks like our Orlando-Jacksonville line. Lastly, bad choices, waste of public funds, I guess. Jacksonville to Atlanta, what are we doing over here? That is good for tourism. I guess the Atlanta-Charlotte line kind of bugged out, so it's kind of weird. Atlanta-Charlotte, here we go. There is a greater need elsewhere, and this would be criticized and considered a waste of public funds. Come on, Come on, I literally am investing in America's future. See, if we could actually get all of this done by 2030, a massive high-speed rail network actually for the United States, that would actually be really cool if we could actually get all of this done by 2030. Let's go ahead and go up north. Let's go to Seattle, and then let's go ahead and do this. Connect a little bit of a line here. Kind of go up a little bit north and go over to the left, cross the river, and it will connect directly over to Vancouver. This is going to be our first high-speed rail line that will cross into a national territory. Let's go ahead and try to see. You know what? We're going to go ahead and finance the entire thing. $13 billion, $65 billion over the next 5 years. 9,000 people will be allocated. Let's go ahead and get that done in 5 months. $11 billion, $55 billion over the next 5 years. And cool. I guess, well, no, we actually have to wait for the confirmation from the Canadian government. So we are waiting for our friends up north to actually to approve of this high-speed rail line. Let's go over to the next day, see what happens, and they approved it. Awesome, awesome, awesome. First in the nation, first in North America, we finally get a high-speed rail line that will actually connect from Seattle all the way over to Vancouver. Now, the best thing to actually do now is to connect Seattle to our high-speed rail network. If we can actually connect Seattle, maybe a little south, we can actually get a line to Tacoma going. And if we actually get over to Tacoma, maybe we can go over to Olympia, and then Olympia to Portland, Portland over to Eugene, and then Eugene would have to connect all the way over to possibly San Francisco. Or we could just go up north. We could just connect it all the way up north. We do have another connection which is Reno. Reno is actually a little bit alone over there. Again, I really want to refuse a Salt Lake City, Las Vegas line, which would be hilarious. Looks like we do have this Hyperloop. Let's go ahead and Dallas-Denver line. That is awesome, 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 awesome. Let's go over to transportation. Let's see what's going on over here. Let's get a little bit more funding to rail transport. It's going to be an additional $10 billion. So $178 billion is now on our Department of Transportation. High-speed rail network Seattle-Vancouver line project accepted and launched. The project was accepted by Canada. The building site will begin. First of all, this is great for national tourism, which will benefit fully from this new infrastructure. Regarding relations with our partners, the exceptional quality of the rail network that we are proposing will significantly contribute to bringing peoples and their cultures closer together. Lastly, the cities chosen for train stations are excellent choices and will contribute to the region's development. One more train that I actually do want to build will possibly be a Hyperloop, since Hyperloops are actually cheaper. But I do want to actually get a connection, possibly from Toronto. Let's do this. Okay. Let's do Chicago. It's gonna bend over into northern Indiana. It's going to connect all the way over to Detroit. There's going to be a direct connection from Chicago into Detroit. It's going to cost $22 billion. Let's go ahead and go to the next day, see what the news on that will be. And cities chosen for a train station are good choices and are good for their expansion. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then the next one I actually do want to do, I want to build a high-speed rail network from Detroit all the way over to Toronto. And Toronto since we actually cannot build on national territories unless we are building from one city to another, the Canadians would actually have to project that themselves, so that is going to be impossible unless we are playing as Canada. So the next option will have to be a connection from Ottawa. Ottawa will have to connect to some city in some way, shape, or form. We could actually connect the capitals of the countries. We can connect Ottawa all the way over to Washington, D.C., or we can have a pseudo connection, which would connect all the way over to New York City. New York City could connect all the way to the country's capital, Ottawa, or we could actually go a little bit to the west or east actually, and we could connect it over to Montreal. So that is going to be left up to you guys. Which ones do you think I should actually do? As I wait on you guys to actually pick that, I'm going to possibly start working on a connection from Seattle to make sure that Vancouver is connected with the California high-speed rail network. So that will be interesting. Let's go ahead and go to here. Delicate, I mean, let's go ahead and refuse. Housing, let's go ahead and work on some housing projects. Go ahead and get another possibly 100,000 houses done and over with. 1 million workers will be required, and it's going to cost a couple $2 billion. Hurricane, $215 million. Awesome.
Our governmental cell informed me that it has had the opportunity.
Yeah, let's go ahead and start reconnaissancing some Indians, I guess. A little bit cholera plague going on in the country of Bhutan. Bhutan was going to be invaded by me if I was going to be playing as China, but looks like they're not. Let's go over here. $16 trillion in the GDP of China. What can we do to raise our own? We need to start looking toward growth. For one thing, let's go ahead and do some assistance for converting to organic farming. Yikes, that's a lot of money. $13 billion. Let's go ahead and foot the bill right there. A little bit more of a conversion tactic going on, but I cannot afford to star that as much as I can. So unfortunately, that's gonna have to wait. Let's go ahead and let's go over to the beginning of June 2021. Pakistan has just suffered a terrorist attack, 89 dead, unfortunately. Yikes. Let's go ahead and read the newspaper. Hurricane, obviously popularity, Donald Trump is at his height. New controversy for the most famous family in the United States. A few days before the start of a broadcast of a new season of their reality TV show, several members have been arrested for a case of fraud. Yikes. The government is showing signs of open-mindedness with regard to its social partners, commented the National Energy Union's leader, Andam Gady. If there's something in which the Secretary of Agriculture is a master, it is the cha-cha-cha, mocked Stephen Mnuchin, actually, the Secretary of the Treasury, referring to Tony Perdue. Ironically, the only people in the cabinet that we actually still have from the previous administration is this guy right here, Mick Shyamalan. He is supposed to be the current guy that is actually in there. Completely forgot. Sonny Perdue is actually still in here. Tony Perdue, Perdue. This is actually Sonny Perdue, who's he was a representative actually from the state of Montana, and now he's the Secretary of Agriculture. Looks like Pompeo is still a character in this game. We have Wilbur Ross, the Secretary of the Economy. Then going over to here, the Secretary of the Energy is actually a random character I actually had to pick. We did have Rick Perry in there before, but now he is gone. Looks like our Secretary of Housing is still in here. He is 69 years old, Mr. Carson. Obviously still looks like Ben Carson. And lastly, we do have Betsy DeVos, or Betty Ramos. She is the most unpopular Secretary of Education we have possibly ever had, ironically. Let's go over to the next day, and then let's go over to Energy. And I know there was a commenter that actually waits. Please don't be a riot. Please don't be a riot. It's probably treatment against memory disease. I thought I actually got that in the last one.
The mission was completed last evening,
the James
giving
Webb
rise to a
telescope, but I'm going to ignore that real quick. Let's see if we can go ahead and get a oil well in northern Alaska. and see what's going on. Alzheimer's disease. I believe I actually did that, but let's go ahead and patent it again. Maybe I reloaded the wrong save. Like maybe? I don't know. Let's go ahead and do energy, and we got 25 on the ground right now, 31 that are planned. Let's go ahead and see what new plants we are waiting for. Let's do this. 60, 26, and 40. We got a nuclear power plant, actually, right there. 3rd generation. That's awesome. Gas well still being waited. Still waiting on that to be constructed. Still more of those. Where did I actually build the last nuclear plant? Because I know I built it somewhere. I do have a couple of, no, that was actually in the last game. Let's go ahead and do some of this. I am going to invest, this is going to go ahead and get 35 of these wind power plants. Shoot. I'm going to do 15 of the offshore. And then 35 of the onshore. I'm gonna do it right here. 30. Do it a little bit to the north, maybe in the Central Valley. Let's see what kind of readings we get over here. And how much are you going to produce? 1.5 terawatts. Let's go ahead and do one more. Wait, is that a nuclear power plant under? Okay, that's an old one. Diablo Canyon is being dismantled. That's cool. Maybe we can go over and dismantle a couple of we can denuclearize a couple of our older reactors. Let's go ahead and see what kind of reading we can get right here. Average. Let's go ahead and see what happens whenever we put it on the coast. And we got a good reading. Let's go ahead and see what we're going to get. 1.5 terawatts, same as we did in California. Unfortunately, let's see what we're getting off of the coast of Texas. We're getting 2.29 terawatts each. Cool, actually. And let's see what's going on in Indiana. Can we know that is a regular nuclear plant? Let's go ahead and dismantle this one. 2.75 terawatts being created by it. Let's go ahead and dismantle that one. We're going to go ahead and find a couple other to dismantle. We're not going to dismantle any of our newer reactors, but we are going to dismantle some of our very, very old reactors. Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and dismantle 3 Mile Island. 3 Mile Island is one of the most controversial ones, as they are the ones that actually failed a long time ago, back in the 70s, actually. 7 terawatts being produced by Peach Bottom 2. Let's go ahead and leave that reactor running for at least a little bit. Let's go over here to nuclear energy. And let's do one more nuclear reactor. We're going to do this on Long Island. Really, really wish we could name these reactors. Unfortunately, we cannot. And let's go ahead and start another nuclear reactor. We're going to go ahead and shoot for about 40 reactors. And let's get one more reactor going on in... Can we do it in Ohio, Texas? Texas has a lot of them. I've already put enough of these nuclear plants in Texas. How many do we actually have in Texas? Can we count? 1. We got another 1, 2, 3 in north. Damn, I built one that close to the Dallas-Fort Worth metropolitan area. Oklahoma has no nuclear reactors, I believe. No, they actually have 2 in the eastern part of the area. Let's build this south of Kansas City. This is going to be in Missouri, but we're going to be building it a long way from Kansas City. However, it still will be producing enough for those that are needing power in Kansas City. Let's see what we can do with solar. Just, again, most of these episodes, you're going to see me just building a crap ton of facilities, just trying to make sure that I can keep up with my power production. Can I do something here in West Virginia? What about onshore? What are my power productions in the state of West Virginia? We're gonna get an average reading, unfortunately. Can I build 21.8 terawatts, and how much do we get off of these facilities? That's a lot. 21.8, and I think they're overproducing by like 7 terawatts. There's Fermi 2. Fermi 2, that's another one. That's one being actually constructed in northern Michigan. 2 of them under construction in Michigan, actually. Where are they? Let's go ahead and go over to southern Oklahoma. 28.08 terawatts. So these guys are actually overproducing by a pretty big margin, actually. Wait. Son of a hell. I was reading the wrong one. 21.8 terawatts from the regular nuclear plants, 28.1 terawatts from the third generation nuclear plants. So if you really want to produce anything more than, if you just want to produce and just rely on something good, go for nuclear. Nuclear power will be your best savior in any sort of situation, especially if you're playing as any country that is larger than... Especially if you're playing as any country larger than, you know, Kazakhstan, Germany, some of the first world nations, you really need to rely on nuclear. Rising nations can actually rely on nuclear because you can actually... your power production can actually skyrocket by a lot, especially because if your services are gonna start taking off. Mid nations are usually also really good to kind of concentrate on nuclear power. The only ones you really want to concentrate on solar, wind. If you're really a really minor nation, you're really not gonna be competing against anyone like Chinese, the United States, the EU. If you're playing as Cuba, maybe 1 or 2 nuclear reactors can help, but usually you want to do reliance on more anything else, I guess, because you're not going to be able to bear the cost of a nuclear plant, because the upkeep of those facilities are very high. So you're not going to be able to maintain more than maybe 3 or 4 nuclear power plants. So in places like Cuba, a better option would actually be to maybe have a reliance on some hydroelectricity. A lot of onshore wind plants would actually help. Look at that, 272 terawatts just off of wind power, 14 terawatts off of offshore wind power. Maybe geothermal could actually help, but it wouldn't be really realistic if you were playing in Cuba. Biomass could actually help. Solar definitely helps. Geothermal could help. Maybe because of the tectonic area that they're in. There's always just a little bit of a tectonic area in this area right here. Surprisingly, Miami and Florida doesn't get a lot of tectonic activity. Let's go over to immigration. Let's see what's going on with immigration. We're about to reach 2 million illegal immigrants again. We need to figure out something to do with them, but we're going to go ahead and deal with that in the next episode. If you guys like this, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to see more episodes of the United States of America, please go ahead and hit that bell notification icon. If you are excited to see 2020, please again hit that bell notification icon and you will not miss any Power and Revolution content, especially whenever 2020 releases. So again, if you like this, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys there.